Pac Resources Incorporated is a small manufacturing company located in the upper Midwest and was founded in 1994 by current CEO David Dukakis. While conducting a SWOT analysis for Pac Resources Incorporated, I have discovered the internal strengths and weaknesses as well as the external opportunities and threats. An internal strength of Pac Resources Incorporated is that its market niche continues to be high quality specialized equipment. The patents on these specialty components are the backbone of the company's success. Another strength would be that the company's products continue to be made in the United States and of its ISO quality certification granted by the International Organization for Standardization. This is also what has kept the company in business while others in the industry have shipped jobs offshore or went out of business. A very important internal strength would be the strong growth history the company has had under consistent management through Senior Vice President Cliff McNamara, who has been with the company from the beginning. Now, the internal weaknesses of Pac Resources include the reliance on one customer for about 83% of the company's sales. Another internal weakness would be the unsatisfied employees that are present in the company. There have been complaints of poor management, inconsistently enforced policies, and unfair practices regarding job changes and movement of employees within the organization. There's also the hiring freeze and possible layoffs due to the request of a reduction in labor costs and labor force. The external opportunities include Pac Resources possibly being able to establish new markets such as the Canadian and European markets. External threats that Pac Resources face is the eroding economy and the possible decline in sales. Another external threat would be the possible unionization, as there has already been an attempt to unionize the company, and it seems to be continuing now that there is talk about cutting costs. Another threat would be the possible lawsuits Pac Resources may face as employment and sexual harassment lawsuits.
In regards to a SWOT analysis of the staffing functional department where Mr. Kim Wong has worked for PAC since they had less than 100 employees. There are many strengths but also multiple threats that counteract with these strengths. The staffing area is a very important functional area of PAC, therefore we must make sure that it is functioning properly. PAC is undergoing a difficult time economically because of a decrease in sales. So, they are forced to reduce employment costs and labor costs by 10%. In contrast, Wong had just hired many new employees at a hiring drive at various universities. He possibly will have to let these new employees go. The hiring department at PAC goes above and beyond to make sure they ensure equity in their hiring and make sure they abide by all equal opportunity laws. One individual is in charge of their hiring website and their telephone hotline to ensure quality and that there are no biases. Wong, being very strict with his hiring, also adds strength to PAC because they are avoiding negligent hiring. PAC's staffing area's major weakness is that Mr. Wong hired too many employees at a hiring drive and put his company in a bind. Wong should have had a set number of employees he could hire only after checking his labor expenses availability. Although, this leaves PAC with an opportunity to lay off employees who do not meet their company's performance appraisal standards. PAC is left with having to worry about various threats to their company by having to cut 10% of their labor force, which some include being accused or sued for wrongful discharge of the employees, harming their company's reputation, and losing talent and interest from their longtime employees. These are just some of the risks that PAC takes by cutting their labor force by 10%.
Pac Resources can reduce labor costs without necessarily losing many jobs. There are some possible alternatives to reduce labor costs without the loss of employees. A major focus can be on The reduction of employee turnover. The company has made some attempts at this, but with a larger focus on recruitment and careful selection of new employees, it can help for reduction in turnover both long and short term. Pac Resources can also encourage trading time off for their payroll expense. The company can consider moving from 5 days a week to 4, but still keep the same amount of hours of operation. Some employees may appreciate having more time off, and this will boost their morale instead of it declining. A big cost saving technique would be to convert from fixed salaries into commissions. This can boost the work output and save costs without the necessity to cut employees. This method may give the hardworking employees incentive while on the job. Encouraging early retirement will lower costs and give a reduction in labor force. There are a few other techniques Mr. Wong can consider, such as giving overtime to top employees instead of hiring more employees, update technology to cut costs, and reduce the perks given to employees, such as the current schooling reimbursement. Reducing prerequisites in areas like employees' health insurance can also help as well. Downsizing will bring short and long-term effects. When downsizing, Pac Resources wants to maintain their image in local community. With the time restraint to downsize, a key is to not act too quickly and to have a solid plan for short and long term. The company cannot afford to focus on just the short-term goals or to overlook them and focus solely on long term. In the short term, the company will need to pay severance packages, vacation, and fees for outplacement services. It will take time to downsize. The company will need to take time to properly lay off employees while attempting to keep morale of all the employees at as high as possible. This will take time and money, which should not be overlooked. In the long term, the company should ensure they aren't overlooking the effects of these changes. If Pac Resources ends up needing to hire more employees, it will be even more costly to train them than if it was in the first place to keep them. Also, the company should expect some decrease in customer loyalty and plan for solutions to this. A positive message to the community should be carefully handled. In the long term, often the strain from layoffs can take its toll on the kept employees. Maintained employees may be required to put in more hours, short term, and over long term be required to pick up extra responsibility.
In order to achieve a 10% labor reduction, I recommend a work redesign strategy. The strategy will be easy to achieve short term. The primary aim of this labor reduction strategy is to reduce labor hours as well as reducing the amount of workers. The strategy consists of eliminating unnecessary labor functions, seniority levels, groups, and divisions, as well as eliminating the least selling products from production. Redesigning tasks, consolidating or merging units, it's necessary in order to successfully downsize. Best performing employees will merge into different departments and will be cross-trained in order to substitute their coworkers as extra days off might be necessary. A workforce trained to perform a variety of operations will enable you to make changes, including layoffs, without affecting your ability to deliver products or services to your consumer. Mr. Wan worries about massive layoffs, especially of those newly hired employees. The strategy will prevent that. However, the elimination of non-essential jobs will be necessary. Job descriptions and evaluations will help identify tasks that can be merged between departments. Office jobs are especially suited for sharing duties. Replacing full-time employees with part-time workers can reduce administrative costs without necessarily reducing hours for which the full-time employees were available. Lastly, it is essential to communicate this information to employees. Being involved rather than being a victim, will maintain their commitment to the company and solidify your role as a leader.
Here's what we found when we conducted a demographic analysis. Since we are looking just at the labor market, we narrowed our search to 16 years and older who are legally able to obtain a job. In California, there are 40 million in total labor population. Narrowing down to Fresno, the labor market population is 667,247. Females make up to 51% and males make up to 49%. The total employment in Fresno is 416,557. Total female in the labor market is 336,765 and the employment rate is 56.1%. The total male labor market is 330,482 and the employment rate is 68.9%. According to a demographic employment analysis, total population of Hispanic makes up to 298,485. The employment rate of male is 36.9% and female is 25.4%. Total population of white makes up to 258,893. The employment rate of male is 32.7% and female it's 28.4% in the total population. And for African American, it's 31,954. The employment rate is for male is 26.7, and for female it's 27.3%. The total population for Asian makes up to 60,641. The employment rate is 31.8%, and for female it's 27.6%. And the other ethnic group makes up to 1,771. The employment rate is 36.6% for male, and for female it's 19.1%. And overall, the unemployment rate is 11.8% from the from the total labor market. From the Fresno market labor information data analysis, the computer engineering occupation has employment of 3,110 in 2014. 51% of computer engineers are males and 49% are female. It is estimated that in 2022 there will be an increase of 35% and 35%. The average annual job opening for this occupation is 5%. The replacement for it annually is 2%. The median annual income the occupation makes is 67,289. So when the economy recovers, Pac Resources will be able to find workers in the Fresno area.
Pac Resources has quite a few options at their hands if they want to maintain a large pool of skilled labor in the workforce. One of the things that people look for nowadays when they're looking to be hired onto a company is the reputation of the company. If the employees are happy, how the turnover is, if they have room to excel in the company and grow personally as well. One of the things that Pac Resources needs to bring back is the tuition assistance, where they actually pay for the tuition of employee in case they want to go to college while they're working there to expand their knowledge in their field. This is an investment in human capital, and the current manager of Pac Resources believes that that's not a necessity and that folks shouldn't be doing that, which is a huge mistake. People need to know that they have room to grow inside of a company and that they are appreciated when they do, in fact, gain knowledge that helps them maybe do a job more efficiently or become more helpful to the organization. Another thing that Pac Resources need to look into is the snack and chat that was started with the engineers talking amongst each other. That's an investment in social capital. People need to be able to talk amongst each other. Maybe that there's a problem in one department that isn't an issue in another department. They have it figured out already. If they talk amongst each other, then they can work more efficiently and save cost and reduce the amount of reduction in workforce that's going to have to take place. And they also need to look at revising the bonus plans and also the performance review. The performance reviews are based off of an arbitrary standard that the manager sets in that particular department. They don't know what they're working towards. This creates anxiety, a lack of satisfaction in the workplace, and the bonuses being divvied out depending on manager preference as far as who he likes, it's also something that the workers frown upon and it's something that should be addressed as well.